So, this is a question I think a lot of people ask all the time for Warhammer fans. What Primarch should return next? Now, I've kind of said that, like, I think I've mentioned before that, like, I kind of don't want the Primarchs all returning, because it just kind of takes away more from the rest of the Warhammer universe. Like, it was really cool to have Lion back, and the more I read about him, and the more I learn about this character and understand him, I kind of think I'm leaning more towards Lion being my favorite Primarch, while Vulkan is now getting the second place. But again, it's hard to say. I think it's like why I think I'm starting to like Lion a lot more is because he's a character who's like, oh man, I fucked up bad. Like, I like when a character who's been kind of a prick is starting to learn not to be a prick. You know, look at Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I know it's not the same thing, that's the closest side. Actually, no, Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z would probably be a better thing of, I was a prick, and I realize I was a prick. But I wanted to talk about this. And again, while I don't want them to, GW to constantly bring back Primarchs every, 10 minutes, I also, I think you need to space out, the return of the Primarchs, but you also need, focus more on the other, the other thing that needs to happen is that, they need to focus on bringing out new heroes or focusing more on the other heroes of the other factions. I would like some more focus on Gazgathol, Lilith, Hesperex, even Yvrain, the Eldar. I'm not the biggest Eldar fan or Drakari fan. But I do feel like they get shafted the most. Like, they get the ones who get fuckstick the most. So maybe some more. It wouldn't hurt. What I'm saying is, it wouldn't hurt to have some more focus on the other heroes and the other factions. You gotta balance it out. And if it's one thing GW is not good at, it's balancing shit out. Anyway, but let's say, for instance, since we have Lion back and we have 2 Primarchs back, who should be the next Primarch to return? That's the big question. Now we're gonna bring up the fact that some of these Primarchs are fucking dead and there's no way to come back. There's Ferrus Manus, but there's Ferrus Manus clones all the time. Yeah, but it's not truly Ferrus Manus. It's just a clone who doesn't really have the same thought process of Ferrus. So Ferrus we're going to take out of the situation. Same with Fulgrim. Fulgrim's a demon Primarch, and I know, but Trazyn has, I keep saying Trazyn and Trazyn, because everyone on the internet says the two things too, so Trazyn has a clone of Fulgrim that Fabius Bile gave to him, because Fabius was like, oh shit, if this thing wakes up, the Emperor's children are gonna have a fucking meltdown. I need to get rid of this. So that's not the real Fulgrim is still out there as a demon Primarch. So we have that. Also, Horus. Horus is fucking vaporized. He ain't coming back from that. So, what Primarchs should come back in Warhammer? Let's talk about that. I'm always excited to hear who you think in the comments below should return for as a Primarch. So let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about the first one I think should come back, because I think it would be the most interesting and what you could do story-wise with it. And that's Corvus Corax. Corax would be a really interesting one because he's a demon loyalist Primarch. He's basically gave himself to the ruinous powers just because the Raven Guard was thoroughly fucked 8 ways from sideways in the Horus Heresy. The Raven Guard got thoroughly fucked, from Alfarius's poisoning of the gene seed to Horus getting them all slaughtered during one of the wars, and also they just got fucked repeatedely. And poor Corvus, who was already dealing with a lot because he basically Hiroshimaed a Forge world full of innocent people before before he returned to his legion. It took a toll on him, so he went right into the warp, gave in to being a demon to just not to like join them. He was like, yo, yo, Lorgar. That's such. Why is that having trouble? Yo, Lorgar. Bitch, it's your turn. I wish I got that joke off the first time. It doesn't help. Anyway, moving on. So, Lorgar basically got his shit wrecked so bad that he's still hiding in the warp from Corvus, who's hunting him, probably to this day. So, why do I think Corvus should be the next returning Primarch? I personally believe that Corvus would make a really interesting storyline, because if you did bring him back, it would be a very interesting look. See how he's still a demon. He's still a demon prince, but he's different. Like he's still loyal to the Imperium, kind of. During like that whole thing, like he was just really depressed and just did not give a shit whatever Guilliman was saying. So he would basically like go to Guilliman and Lion, assuming Lion and Guilliman at this point have united. Like he would go to them and they would immediately be like, "Can we even trust you, dude? Look at you! You're a bird!" He's like, "Yes, that's my... No, you're a fucking bird, Corvus!" So, they would be instantly... Like, I would love to see that tension of, like, Lion and Guilliman. You know, is this still our brother? Or can we trust him from, you know, going the same route? And I think, like, a lot of that, like, trauma and also all those horrible memories from the Horus Heresy would like might push them over the edge. So that's what I think would be interesting, is to see, could Corvus be an ally to the Imperium, or would, you know, his own the ruinous powers like still in his head, not to mention his own, you know, depression and the distrust from his only other two surviving loyalist brothers at this point, would that turn Corvus to becoming a full demon and joining Chaos? Or would he be like welcomed by his brothers tentatively and either like still stay a demon prince or go back to being human? Either way, I feel like the Raven Guard kind of needs something. Like, they haven't really gotten a lot of love lately. So that's why I said Corvus Corax first. Not just because, oh, how interesting would it be to have the Imperium have a demon Primarch as in the Loyalist group. That just kind of reeks of like first edition crazy bullshit fun, right? Like, I think we all agree, like, that's something you'd see in like first edition. But yeah, so Corvus Corax would be an interesting one. The next person we're going to talk about is Rogel Dorn. Rogel, I know what you're thinking. Oh, but Rogel died. You know, he died fighting, Angron and the other ones. All that. Didn't you see the hand? Yeah, I also saw Maul get cut in fucking half, and then he showed up in Star Wars for like up until present day. That don't mean shit. If there is no like confirmed body, by Star Wars lore, you are still alive. Even then, if you're cutting it fucking half and we see the body fall, there's a chance you might come back, if we're going by Star Wars lore. So, Rogel Dorn is another fascinating one. I personally don't really give a shit about Dorn, but I think that could change, because it's the same thing with, like I said, about going back to the Lion, where I didn't really think that much of the Lion, but when you learn about it, when I started reading more about him and seeing how introspective he is, about himself, like how he man, I fucked up in the Horus Heresy, and I also, I should have been more helpful to Guilliman, and now he's trying to reunite the Dark Angels, others who have, fallen or gone renegade. He's trying to, redeem all of his sons. So, imagine that with Rogel. Rogel is a stubborn asshole, let's be real. So, let's say Rogel comes back, new mechanical hand, and Rogel is just going to be a total dick to Guilliman, because he's like, oh, that whole Codex Astartes, how's that shit working for you, Gilly? I would love to see, him and Guilliman, butt heads consistently, but I also see, him and Lion and Guilliman being kind of well, good thing I'm back, because you guys need help. So, it would be fascinating to see, if Dorn's stubbornness would play a hand in, either helping or hurting the Imperium. I think that would be a fascinating look at those kind of things. The other thing that I think would be fascinating to see is that Dorn, having some introspective on himself, because he was a stubborn asshole, through all the Horus Heresy, and right into his quote-unquote death. So I think that, like, him having, again, with Lion, having that introspective of, it was because of me, like, I did some dumb shit, and I need to work on, I need to have some, like, self-introspective here. First, also, be kind of cool to see him in, like him to face Perturabo again, now that Perturabo's a demon prince, and be like, hey, bro, I'm about to stomp your ass again. So, it would be cool to reenact that rivalry between Dorn and Perturabo. So there you go. So Dorn. So Rogel Dorn. The next one I think would be interesting to see. And here's where I believe, like, we're gonna move on to something a little different, of a character coming back, but not the same way. I think, like Vulkan. Actually, before I do that, because I do have something else of a Primarch returning. But here's one more. Vulkan, obviously. Vulkan is another possibility. Vulkan being the most humane, and plus, I think it would work pretty well, because I imagine while Lion in the book, Lion's last thought is, Rebute, I'm not alone. Like he's overjoyed. Like, it's almost like he's overjoyed at the thought that one of his brothers is still alive, even if it's the guy he had nothing but arguments with. But I still think that he and Guilliman are going to have conflicting thoughts on how to run the Empire, the Imperium. Excuse me. So Vulkan, if Vulkan came back, Vulkan would be a cool like the cool head between them. Like, he'd be the one, like, brothers, please stop shouting. Dad wouldn't want us to fight. Let's just talk let's talk. So if Vulkan came back, I think that would be Vulkan. That would be his role in the Imperium. Is that if Vulkan came back, Vulkan would be the voice between the two of them, and being like, okay, brothers, stop talking. Like we've got an Imperium to keep from falling apart. And of course, you know me, I love the Salamanders, so, any more love to them, the better. So, those are the three Primarchs, loyalist Primarchs, I would love to see come back the most. Dorn, Corax, Vulkan. But, Multi, you're saying in the comments, there are still two other loyalist Primarchs that are missing. Yes. But here's where we get interesting, because, you see, the funny thing about Warhammer 40k is that it's really fucking depressing to live in the universe of Warhammer 40k. It's really fucking depressing to live there, and bad shit happens even to good people. What do I mean by that? So here's what I'm thinking. If we bring back and this would be probably even more interesting than bringing back, Dorn or Vulkan. I mean, again, I think Corax would be fascinating to see if he would go full traitor or full loyalist if he returned still as a demon prince. But what if a loyalist Primarch came back as a traitor? That, I think, would be way more fascinating, and kind of in line to see, like, with Warhammer 40k. That kind of dark depressing shit where, oh man, this paragon of good and, a fighter for the Emperor has come back as a monster. And that would just lead to a whole other list of problems for Guilliman to be like, oh my god! So what if we brought back a loyalist Primarch, and he became and he returned as a traitor Primarch. So that's what I think should happen with Leman Russ. There, I said it. Yeah, I think if they ever bring back Leman Russ, he should come back as a traitor Primarch. He went literally into the way he went out. It kind of, like he said, like, I will return when, like, it's the wolf time, going full wolf Viking shit. So what if he comes back and he's changed? Like, they find Leman Russ as, like, a demon Primarch, and he's just he looks like Fenrir. Like, he just looks like Fenrir from Norse mythology. Just this big hulking wolf, And now, not only do you have like Lion and Gilliman dealing with a brother they loved and fought alongside and bled with. Now he's come back, and now they have to worry about the Space Wolves turning on them. And the Space Wolves themselves, I think that would be fascinating to see, like, their father coming back as this monster, and now you have this confliction that, you know, the World Eaters faced, that the Word Bearers faced, that the Emperor's Children's faced, that they join with their Primarch or get killed. That I think that would be fascinating to see done. To see, again, it would be kind of in that whole vein, and also to you could have. That should be, I think, the more I think about it, this is what I think should happen. You have one returning Loyalist Primarch. You've already got that with Lion. You do one more to, like, make people believe, oh yeah, like, we're gonna be fine and all that. Whether it be Dorn, Corax, or Jagatai, or Vulkan. But then you bring back another, you tell, GW tells them, oh yeah, he's not the only Primarch coming back. Leman Russ is coming back. But then reveal he's a traitor Primarch now, because he got fucked up in the warp. You know, he spent so much time in the warp, and it's altered him for so long. You could even have, you could do the same thing with Jagatai. You could have Jagatai come back as a demon Primarch now. Again, those missing Loyalist Primarchs, we don't know what's happened to them after they went missing. You know, we don't, I say Dorn, you could even make the argument with Dorn that he went missing. Like, he got dragged to, you could make the argument that Rogel Dorn, instead of dying, he did get his hand cut off, but he just got dragged off to Khorne's realm, and he just went fucking crazy in there. So you could even you can make the argument to make Rogel Dorn a demon Primarch now. If you're gonna bring these what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say in this video is, if you're gonna bring back Primarchs, make it interesting. The reason why I like Lion returning is because he's being introspective. He's not a fucking asshole anymore. I mean, he is still kind of an asshole because he's now older, and he's still like, what the fuck is this world now? And Gilliman did what with a what? But he's not the same Gilliman. He's changed his character. If you're gonna bring these characters back, you gotta do something interesting with them. You can't just be like, I'm back, brother, it's me, Leman Russ. All father, demands that we fight the demon horde, and, even though the Imperium is totally dying, we'll write stories to make it seem like the Imperium is unbeatable because fucking plot armor. You have to do something to balance these characters returning, or else what's the fucking point? All it's going to show is more fucking favoritism to Space Marines, which have already been overexposed in GW as it is. I know they're the face of the franchise. I am very well aware that they are the face of the franchise. But having said that, you have got to balance it out. You cannot just keep throwing out Primarchs and Space Marine stuff and Primarch and Space. There are other factions and just as interesting too. So if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it in a way to make people go, oh shit, what are we gonna do now? Where are we going now as a franchise, rather than just be put in park? Say what you want about Warhammer Fantasy, at least it evolves. At least after how shit End Times was, and at least it changed. At least there was change constantly. Even now with the whole Age of Sigmar thing going on, there's fucking evolution of the characters. It's not constantly put in park and only moves an inch in 40k. That's what I think the big that's what I'm trying to say. I'm cool. So cool. Anyway, so yeah, I know this video ran a little long, but hey, it was just kind of a video I wanted to do of talking. And I know this video's been done several times over, but you guys tell me in the comments below, what Primarch would you like to see return, and how would you like to see them return? Do you want Dorn, Corax, Vulkan, Kai, Leman? Do you want any of them to return, and how do you want them to return? Do you want them to return back as they were, or changed? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.